homosexuality in German men. 3 former judges or prosecutors who had ruthlessly implemented death sentences against racial and political enemies of the Reich, even as it crumbled around them. 7 Schutzstaffel, protection squad, SS officials, affiliated with the administration and exploitation of the murderous slave labor system in the Reich's concentration camps. 4 generals with supervisory responsibility for massacres of civilian hostages in the Balkan campaigns. 3 additional RUSHA deputies who had overseen forcible resettlement activities in occupied territories, including the kidnapping and Aryanization of foreign children. 2 administrative officers from Einsatzgruppen units tasked with murdering Jewish men, women, and children in Soviet territories occupied by the Wehrmacht, and 3 civil servants with ties to both the systematic plunder of foreign assets and the administration of the Reich's slave labor program during the war. These figures, and others still in Landsberg, whose sentences McCloy also reduced, had received fair trials. They had been prosecuted and convicted by American judges of activities falling under one or more of the 4 criminal counts described in Allied Control Council Law 10, governing the occupation of Germany. These offenses included crimes against peace, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and membership in the criminal organizations of the Nazi Party, Gestapo, SS, Sicherheitsdienst, Security Service, SD, Sturmabteilung, Brown Shirts, SA, or the Reich Cabinet. Although the prisoners, their attorneys, and their supporters frequently complained during and after the trials that their imprisonment represented an illegal American application of ex post facto law, American and Allied lawyers tasked with defining the legal rationale behind the tribunals had made every effort to ground the Nuremberg proceedings in pre-existing concepts of international law and standard criminal justice procedures. Under Hitler's rule, plunder, kidnapping, hostage-taking, forced labor, enslavement, murder, and planning aggressive warfare against neighboring states were institutionalized as daily functions of the German state. For nearly all the prisoners convicted at Nuremberg, the proof that they had participated in these undertakings was clear and unimpeachable. The tribunals had acquitted some 36 defendants for lack of evidence. As recently as 1949, General Lucius D. Clay, military governor of the U.S. zone of occupied Germany, had reviewed and confirmed the validity of nearly all the sentences. The U.S. Supreme Court had rejected every single one of the prisoners' appeals. Why, then, did High Commissioner John J. McCloy show these individuals such mercy? Moreover, why did his successors continue to show leniency up through 1958? This book is about the fleeting nature of the Nuremberg war criminal incarceration program. It is bounded by 2 principal questions. What was the rationale behind the widespread American dispensations of clemency and parole from 1951 to 1958? And what was the significance of these acts for the greater political, legal, and moral legacy of the Nuremberg military tribunals in West Germany and the United States? The clemency of 1951 was, after all, the first in a sequence of events that by 1958 resulted in a curious dichotomy, where only the harshest and most lenient sentences were served in their entirety. Of the 142 war criminals convicted at the 12 Nuremberg trials, American successors to the 1945 to 1946 trial of 21 top Nazi leaders before the International Military Tribunal, IMT, only 45 served their sentences in full. 7 Nazi physicians from the first Nuremberg tribunal, who were executed in June 1948, 4 mobile killing unit commanders and head of the SS concentration camp empire, Oswald Pohl, who were executed in June 1951, and 33 prisoners whose sentences amounted to 5 years or less. Meanwhile, 97 of the 142 war criminals in American custody, many of them major offenders, regained their freedom years, sometimes decades ahead of schedule. In placing at the center